Star Wars Hour starting soon. Oh, just kidding. This one's pre-recorded.
Ba-dum. Wow.
Welcome to the Star Wars Hour. And yes, this one is pre-recorded because it's a busy week for us and we just couldn't possibly have done it live. Unfortunately, that means no live questions at the end of this episode, but hey, you can always leave questions in the comments below and we will do our best to pick our favorites for next week.
Yes.
But today we're talking all about the Han Solo movie, now known as Solo, A Star Wars Story. Bless you.
Oh my god.
This has been a topic we've been wanting to talk about for a while, but, of course, we had to get through all of our, The Last Jedi reviews and dealing with the people that hated it and all that debacle and everything. But now that that's all out of the way, we are turning our sights directly on the Han Solo movie, something that we'll probably be talking about for the next, until May, till it comes out. And then we'll be talking about it still, because then we'll be talking.
It's going to be a constant topic. There's just, and it's hilarious because it comes out in May.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue right now is there's still no trailer. They haven't finished enough of the reshoots in order to produce a trailer.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
At least as far as this recording, which is Sunday, January 8th.
No, because today's the 20th.
Today's
the 21st.
That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
Hey, I don't always look at my calendar, Okay, so it's Sunday the 21st, and there's still no trailer. I'm just saying that just in case the trailer somehow comes out before I upload this on Wednesday.
And it's like,
what are you talking about? The Star Wars Solo trailer came out yesterday!
It's been out for 3 whole hours!
Okay, but even if they release it on the 20th, the 22nd, the 23rd, etc., they still took way too long to release this trailer. It should have, in my opinion, should have been attached to Last Jedi. Because how else do you get your Star Wars audience interested in the next movie that comes out in 6 months? What better way to do that than putting it as a trailer before the movie you're about to watch?
Yeah,
But I think the idea was that, we don't want to confuse promotion. It's like people would be, wait, what's this Star Wars movie? I thought I was going to see this Star Wars. Because apparently they don't think people can handle 2 different Star Wars movies.
Who's directing this one again?
It was a solo movie?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on your point of view. Well, it was originally directed by, Chris Miller and Phil Lord, but now directed by Ron Howard. Ugh. And actually, that is, as you know, of some debate, what portion Ron Howard actually had to reshoot.
Yeah.
And now they're saying that he basically reshot everything.
Movie.
Maybe he, some of the action sequences were still usable from the other guys, because, there's no dialogue or much acting there, but I don't know.
Even then, maybe some of the CGI stuff they didn't bother to have because you can't. The only thing about the reshoot, and this is what's interesting, is any of the fight scenes and anything that involves a space battle, that's not a reshoot. That's going to take months in order for them to redesign the entire thing. That is a big production. Yeah. And so, really, they're going to have all of those same plots and all of those same things, but just change the dialogue inside the ship. I have a feeling there's going to be a few moments like this where you're outside in a big space battle and then they have to explain what the fuck's going on because there's so many reshoots in the actual film that over the intercom you're going to hear somebody crackle in.
What's going on down there?
Yeah, which is going to absolutely break.
I'm flying through this thing
for important scummy reasons.
And then when that happens, we'll be like, they had to explain stuff because reshoots.
Yep.
Oh man, I hope it doesn't feel, to me, Justice League felt really disjointed because of the 2 directors there. I really hope. Well, actually, technically, there's 3 directors involved in this movie. But, and then you've got, Kathleen Kennedy, staring over everyone's shoulder, and you got Lawrence Kasdan on set every day, looking over everyone's shoulder. It's kind of a, as an amateur film director myself, I know that, when I'm on set, and if I have people breathing down my shoulder, hey, Richie, you get all this script in there? It's like, I'm making the thing how I want to make it, just lay off, So.
That's why I'm in charge here. Yeah. I think it's going to be really interesting to see just the dumpster fire that is this movie, because you have so many different people panicking for so many different reasons. You have the lead actor panicking because he can't act. You have the director panicking because he was brought in after the movie was already shot. You have Kathleen Kennedy panicking because of the negative reviews, because of the great success of the Return of the Force and then The Last Jedi, that now they're like, shit, this serious tone we have to keep. I mean, if we do a spinoff, maybe they should have stuck with the comedy. Maybe if they were truly just going to say fuck it and expect it to bomb, just stick with the comedy. Screw it. Let's see if they can do it.
See, I think that when Kathleen Kennedy set out her plan with JJ and everybody about like, okay, we're gonna do like the saga films, and then we're gonna have spin-offs in between. The idea, and they even said at Comic-Con or Star Wars Celebration, one of those, they said the spin-offs, because they aren't part of this like Skywalker saga, there's going to be like the war movie, which was Rogue One. There's going to be comedy movies. There's going to be movies that are off genre because we want directors to have freedom and have fun with the Star Wars universe. But I think after they made so much money with The Force Awakens, I think the pressure from Kathleen Kennedy herself, maybe from Disney, was just like, no, Star Wars movies, they have to be a certain way. Audiences are expecting a certain thing. And so then when they were getting the dailies back from Lord Miller, and they were like, it was this ridiculous they were saying it was like Ace Ventura-esque, they were probably like, no.
Don't you think, I mean, it should have been Ace Ventura-esque. If you're going to do the real spinoff, just do it. Don't you think it's going to be an issue with, like, this, like, in the rewrites, I just thought of something terrible. Like, in the rewrites, you know how Han Solo goes, sorry, kid. Like, that's a line. Somebody's going to say that to Han Solo in this movie.
Yeah, it's going to be his mentor.
I guarantee you there's going to be like, sorry, kid. And then he's going to be like, I'm not a kid. And I'm going to die.
Yeah, because Woody Harrelson plays the mentor in the movie.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He's going to say all the Han Solo lines where it's like, oh, that's where Han got that from. Yeah, it's like...
don't make it that serious.
Among so many other things, I think that, like... I remember when they said Han Solo movie, I think us and other Star were kind of like, did we want a Han Solo movie? It's like Rogue One was awesome because it was something we were not expecting.
Yeah.
But it's like, as far as Star Wars spinoffs go, I mean, we want like Old Republic. We want, something like in the Outer Rim, like they were talking about doing a gangster movie that was like, like the underworld, like something, like 1313-esque, even though 1313 is something that never happened.
I know, that would be so good.
We want things that they will never do in a saga film. We know who Han Solo is. He's already been played brilliantly by Harrison Ford. Why do we need to do a movie that's just 5 years before A New Hope?
What more about that character do you need to know other than he's
nothing?
Like
I like to believe, like things like the Kessel Run and stuff, I like to believe that's kind of BS that he says.
Yeah, it needs to be a myth. I don't actually want to watch him finish the Kessel Run. That sounds terrible.
I mean, to me, it doesn't even, like, Han shooting first, Greedo shooting first. To me, it doesn't matter because he was going to bluff his way through the whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I'm the best, but actually I'm scared inside. That's kind of like the...
I don't want them to, like, visually do that in a movie.
No. I don't need to see how Han Solo became Han Solo. Snooze fest. But, I am a Star Wars fan, so I will see this movie, of course, and I'll see it a few times. I hope beyond hope that this movie somehow pulls a rabbit out of its own ass and it's like, wow, that was actually way better than it ever could have been, should have been, but the odds are in favor of it not being good at all. So.
Yeah, it's definitely... Sorry for the typing. I just want to pull this up because I want to see... Oh, that's right. And I was going to get to Paul Bettany, too. So Paul Bettany is playing a character that was originally played... they had to recast because there was a guy that was in the role, and then when they did the reshoots with Ron Howard, he couldn't make it because he was already in something else. Yeah, it was an African-American dude, I forget. And they reshot his entire character.
Yeah. And but the crazy thing is his character was actually a CG character from what I've been told. And it was like... and because the voice and just the mocap was not what Ron Howard wanted to do, they just redid the whole thing, except now Paul Bettany's playing it as him. Like, it's not a CG character anymore because now they don't have time to CG it.
There's going to be such a director's... Actually, they're probably not going to... Because it's Disney, they're not going to release that.
Yeah, they won't ever
That's going to be vaulted.
The Lord Miller cut, completely different movie.
Yeah, I don't think any of that's ever going to come out. We're never really going to see who... We're just not going to see what happened.
Like, a lot of people, there's some confusion, especially since, like, Donald Glover said that, like as Lando, he said he didn't think that there was that big of a difference, but I also don't think they really got to much of his part before they switched directors, and also since Lando's kind of a suave, goofy character anyway, he probably just was consistent with his Lando character, so to him, he's like, I didn't see much of a difference. But again, I think that maybe they filmed 1-2 Lando scenes before they actually got to Ron Howard, and he filmed the bulk of the Lando scenes.
This cracks me up, because you look at the cast, and you have such differing, like, backgrounds. You have Alden Ehrenreich, which I'm gonna pull up his bio real quick. I forget
he was in Hail Caesar and some other stuff where it's like people thought he was. People say he was good. I just think that he was like he was well typed for those the movies that he's been in. But I mean, again, you can't dispute facts. They had to get an acting coach on set every day for him.
Voice acting coach, which is even worse.
And a voice acting coach, like it's and there's. I know that this sounds like this is an hour of bitching, but I guess it kind of is an hour of bitching because we've been talking about Last Jedi for so long. I've been wanting to get a lot of these thoughts off my chest. And for you guys, I hope you like Star Wars Hour because I know that those of you who like Star Wars probably know all these things. But if you're like me, you have to get everyone's opinion. It's like, okay, well, that's that. Let me get his opinion. Let me get Mr. Sunday Movie's opinion. Let me get Collider's opinion. And then hopefully, if you're not me and you're going to be like, let me get Star Wars Hour's opinion. And then you put all those opinions together and then you can either go, well, I got my own opinion, or you can collectively put all those thoughts together and be like, okay, that's my opinion now. I don't know what you do. But to me, it's a little ridiculous when we are, 5 months away from this movie. Yeah. There's no trailer. There's not even a tease. We have seen no footage. There's been one promotional poster that was just a couple weeks ago, and that's it. We have no idea who Phoebe Waller-Bridge is playing. We have no idea who Thandie Newton is playing. And besides the little tidbit we got, even though there was recast, we still don't really know who Paul Bettany is playing, especially since they made pretty much a new character completely out of that, the character they replaced. And so many other things we have no idea. The only characters we really know about are Han Solo, Lando, and Chewbacca. We know that Emilia Clarke is called Kira, but we don't know what that means. Who's Kira? Yeah. Kira was actually the original name for Rey. Is that Rey's mom finally? Who knows?
That would be... Oh my god, don't do that. Don't do that.
D-Rock over here is just... all the horrible possibilities.
This is terrible. But if you look at the actor list, like, you just read some of the names. Their lead is Alden Ehrenreich. And then you have superstar Emilia Clarke, Donald Glover, Woody Harrelson. Yeah. And that's insane. That you have... Maybe they were expecting the secondary, like, basically the supporting actors to, like, enrich the movie and then let Alden come to his own because...
Like, maybe they're trying to pull, like, a Superman 78 where, like, nobody knew who Christopher Reeve was, you know? And it's like, yeah, well, we got, Gene Hackman and, like, all these other people, Margot Kidder and Perry White, played by that kid that used to be in The Little Rascals. I can't remember his name.
Maybe he surprises. Maybe he surprises us.
Yeah, so...
It would surprise me if he surprised us, but I would be welcome to it.
Based on the evidence, I'd say that if he does an okay job, it'll be awesome.
I think we really risk this movie derailing the series. Not from our love for it, not for a Star Wars fan thing, not for me not wanting to watch the other ones, but I think from a Kathleen Kennedy Disney, like, superstar pack, like, setup, like, what do you do after that?
I would say that because this is a spin-off movie, and a lot of the inside sources say that Disney's kind of like just expecting it to bomb, and they're like, look at this, which is a wash, whatever. Yeah, I think that attitude was good maybe before The Last Jedi. And keep in mind, we liked The Last Jedi, but a lot of people didn't and were divisive about it. If people are also really divisive about the Han Solo movie, then that's 2 Star Wars movies in a row where people are like, and that looks bad for Lucasfilm, for Disney. So what will they do? Probably nothing. They'll just keep on doing what they're doing because The Last Jedi still made over $1 billion. So,
well, I'm pulling up the filmography for Ron Howard right now.
He's he was the narrator and producer of Arrested Development. He was the director of Beautiful Mind, Apollo 13. He produced In the Heart of the Sea,
which was
trash.
Of course.
I'll always know him in my heart as Richie Cunningham from Happy Days as an actor before he started directing.
And as he was pretty good at.
He was in the Andy Griffin Show as the little boy whose name was Opie something.
Yeah, I think it was Opie. Wasn't it just Opie?
No, he had a last name. Hold on. Go to here we go.
More actor. Playhouse. He was in Dennis the Menace.
I guess so.
Oh shit. As a little boy.
Here we go. We I swear we know we're trying to go.
Opie Taylor. Yeah, Opie Taylor.
Opie
Good
Taylor.
Haha.
So I had the Eddie Murphy sketch from SNL in my head. Opie Cunningham. Opie Cunningham.
That was so good. He's like, I'm known for some other things now.
Yeah. And he also directed Splash, which is comedy.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. He also directed Willow, which
Yes.
was a Lucasfilm film with, Warwick Davis and, Batman number 3, Batman Forever. Well, he was the third Batman.
He's shooting a
He was
documentary.
not. Batman number 3 technically with George Clooney because Keaton was in 2 movies.
Oh, he
It's
did.
Val Kilmer.
He did Inferno. That wasn't terrible.
Yeah. No, he's done some solid movies. I don't.
Oh,
think,
the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, and like Ransom is a good movie.
I know they were giving him a hard time about it. I don't think the issue with this movie is going to end up being Ron Howard. I don't think the scene cuts, the lighting, any of that stuff that he can actively control is going to be the issue.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come off as this might be interesting. It might come off as kind of The Force Awakens with the acting, where it still feels like everybody's kind of uncomfortable in their characters and nobody really knows where it is.
Except that's all we'll get because it'll just be the
one. And so it will bomb in just this hail. It won't be any worse than The Force Awakens as far as the acting goes, but we just don't ever get to see it again, so there's no redeeming qualities in it.
I just wish, I like a lot of what Ron Howard's done. The last 10 to 15 years, he's been kind of really hit and miss. But, man, if 80s Ron Howard was directing this movie, I'd be like, super sweet. 80s Ron Howard should have done, like,
even
Return
90s,
of the Jedi.
Even 90s Ron Howard, Apollo 13, Backdraft.
Yeah, I really like Apollo 13.
Crap.
That's actually one of my favorite movies. But
Cinderella Man was pretty good.
Ron Howard has an incredible IMDb list of accomplishments, but man, there's so much going on in this movie. I mean, he looks confident enough in what he's doing, all of his Twitter posts and everything. Yeah. I don't know how much of that is him, just being a super optimist, or him actually being like, wow, I actually turned this around. So I guess we'll find out in May.
I think I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's going to be the weak link in this at all.
He is the only thing really giving me confidence in this whole project.
Yes.
And they probably could not have picked a lot of people are like Ron Howard, but honestly, like, they probably couldn't have picked a better person who has that much experience
in order to do all these reshoots in a way that isn't going to tank the movie from a directorial standpoint, from a visual standpoint.
And like, he knows Lucasfilm. He him and George Lucas go way back to American Graffiti. We didn't mention that, but of course he was the main character in American Graffiti, George Lucas's first big box office movie. Unless you think THX was a big box office hit, it wasn't, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, American Graffiti, Ron Howard, Jim and George Lucas go way back, and he's pretty much like the best they could get. I don't know.
Yes, pretty much. No, I think that's it. I don't think there's really needs to be much more to be said about that. So
there's just so much to complain about.
Well, it's not even to complain about. We don't have anything to guess off of.
Yeah.
Like, we can't create something in our minds other than this large dumpster fire because they've given us nothing. They've given us no short clips. They've given us no little like bread teasers other than some stills from the show.
There is no TV spots, no trailer, no teaser.
Yeah. And
I think that there's the marketing and everything over at Disney and Lucasfilm, they're just like, we can't release any of this footage yet.
None of it's finalized.
We're still working on it. You just finished reshoots. And and as far as recording this goes, we just heard 5, 6, 7 days ago that they're doing even more reshoots.
Yeah.
Because, usually you do reshoots after you film a movie, and Ron Howard stepped in, and then reshoots went from 2 weeks to 2 months.
All of it.
Because he ended up refilming everything. So these are so people are freaking out, more reshoots, but this is kind of technically, if you consider the Ron Howard reshoots to be the actual production of this film, the reshoots that they're doing right now are actually the real pickups and reshoots of that stuff.
Yes.
Where, because the reason why you schedule, remember guys, reshoots happen in just about every single movie.
Yes.
Because you're going to look at the dailies and be like, oh, the camera screwed up here, or the film didn't quite get this.
This
or
just doesn't look right.
Yeah, it didn't look exactly the way I wanted. So reshoots are always actually scheduled. Actors plan to be available for those reshoots to come in and do pickups. They call them pickups when they're just little things you need to redo. These reshoots are just pickups for the reshoots that happened before. So really, these are the real reshoots.
These are
I would
Ron
say.
Howard's reshoots.
Yeah. So there's, in my opinion, there's really nothing to freak out about. I think they're going to be doing this for a week or two, and that's it. So yeah, these are just normal.
Well, this is a funny quote from Paul Bettany. He said they reshot way more than expected, and then Ron Howard just went in, and he was like a laser, just cutting that shit up. Oh, man. Given more control than originally intended. Paul Bettany has a lot of confidence in Ron Howard as the director, just based on some of the quotes he's said before on how it's going to go. But it's truly unfortunate to see what this movie's going to bring.
It was super easy to bring Paul. See, like, Paul Bettany is, like, across the studio, like, doing Avengers, you know, and stuff. And they're like, hey, we really need someone to, like, come in here and do this Han Solo movie part. Yeah, hey, Paul Bettany, you look like you could do this part. Even though he looks nothing like the original actor. And, again, they're doing this where he's live action and not CG. But, hey, they were like, hey, Paul Bettany, you've been a dedicated Disney actor now for however long you've been doing this stuff. Technically, Iron Man was not Disney yet because Marvel hadn't bought Disney yet, or Disney hadn't bought Marvel yet. But Paul Bettany was Jarvis in Iron Man in 2008, who, Jarvis evolved into Vision. Yeah. And so he's been doing this as long as, Robert Downey Jr. Paul Bettany has been, doing
major films.
And then before that, he's did some other films that I really like as well. Paul Bettany, like I love him in A Knight's Tale and stuff like that. He's a great actor. I'm just saying, like, he was already on the Disney sets, because I know that, sometimes Star Wars is filmed like at Pinewood in London, but I'm pretty sure a lot of Solo was actually filmed here in California.
Yes.
And so, Paul Bettany, again, he was just, down the road, like across in the other soundstage, and they're just like, yank!
We're going to need you?
I'm actually surprised that not more Marvel characters or actors are coming into Star Wars since it's so connected right now, but...
Paul
Bettany, step one.
Probably for that reason, they're trying to not rely on this like all-star, really expensive cast of Marvel Avengers or Marvel heroes, in order to just fill the gaping acting holes they have in the Han Solo movie. This is the part I'm running into is we're 20 minutes in, and we've said everything we know about the Han Solo movie.
And nothing about the plot, because we know
nothing about the plot. I've been searching different plot points on here, and it's the same thing everywhere. The only thing we're going to know, which we all could have guessed anyways, was how Han Solo meets Chewbacca, and he runs across Lando. Those are the only actors we know, so of course.
Yeah, they released the official synopsis on StarWars.com a few days ago, and it was basically like, Han Solo meets Chewbacca, who eventually becomes his co-pilot. It's like, well, then what is he now? And then he meets Lando, and he gets the Millennium Falcon. It's like, this super generic, thank you for the postcard.
Yeah, no kidding. If we were to create like a spin-off... Actually, here's the issue. You can't even do like projection, or what are they called? The spoiler, right? The spoiler guesses, or whatever they're called. What are those called? The little reviews where you like make a review and guess what's going to happen.
Theories?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why that...
Star Wars theory!
Yeah, well, why we can't even come up with a theory on what it's going to be about is because it doesn't matter. It all already happens and leads into the movies that we already have.
Yeah, it's like a super no fun, because we could even do that with Rogue One, because it's like, oh well, they'll probably die because we don't see them again, but we don't know for sure if maybe they're saving them for something else, and we know nothing about those characters, so it's fun. And of course, whenever they make a new saga film like Episode 8, we can theorize all day about that. But we already know exactly what happens to Han Solo just a few years after this movie, so
you ready for
super predictable?
Are you ready for an intense? Are you ready for the most intense, like, director explosion? Kathleen Kennedy trying to control this but failed, like, theory I have.
Go ahead.
You ready? This is pretty good. So, when J.J. Abrams wrote the original and the movie was passed off to after J.J. said, I don't want to finish it, and they asked Rian Johnson in order to write and direct the second film.
When you say the original, you mean Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens, I'm sorry.
Original in this Disney continuity.
In the Disney, when that happened, they started writing the Han Solo movie to be this kind of comedy with a little bit of very significant spoilers. That's Kira. Kira was J.J. Abrams' link to Rey's parents, making it a very big deal. Mm-hmm. Now, when Rian Johnson steps in and starts rewriting and reshooting after the flop and folly of J.J. Abrams pulling himself out because he doesn't ever finish anything, they had this huge issue with Kira now not being this big important character, kind of linking them all together. Everybody's kind of part of the Skywalker clan kind of thing, right? Despite not being a Skywalker, they blew it out of the water. So not only are they having to reshoot all of the comedy bits, making it kind of lighthearted, but having this really important scene towards the end, which would be my guess, where it's realized that Kira has a daughter. They had to reshoot the entire plot points. They had to edit major events. And so now, because Rian Johnson stepped in and said, nope, her parents were whatever, I think they don't know how to take it, because JJ, I don't think, has finished his script on...
on 9?
Yeah.
I think he has finished his script with 9.
So
nobody knows about what's in it except for Catholic.
Because it's going to be interesting to see if J.J. Abrams says, no, Rian Johnson, Kylo was lying, none of that matters. Like, I'm going to do my thing anyways and pretend like your movie didn't happen.
I'm actually going to, I would put money down that Rey's parents are not just junkers, in Episode 9.
But do you think JJ's going to have the cojones to step in and, do it after Rian Johnson clearly was finish a freaking movie?
Honestly, there's not much evidence either way, because again, we talked about this before. J.J. Abrams starts things; he doesn't usually have to finish them.
Well, let's look up. I want to see if there's been any. Has he ever started a series, jumped out, and then came back like this? I don't think he's ever done that.
I don't think so. Again, first 2 Star Treks, and then didn't do the third one.
Yep.
He was the showrunner or co-showrunner of Lost, directed the first episode, and then never touched it again. He, of course, did Force Awakens and was planning just to step out completely. He did Mission Impossible 3, nothing before or after. He directed a couple episodes of Felicity. I know he was kind of integral in getting that started.
He is coming back he just did the first 2 on Star Trek.
And I think that, it's like
he did the pilot for Undercovers. He's a pilot guy.
Yeah, he's a great, JJ is kind of he's gotten typecast as the guy that he's great at rebooting things. Yeah. He's great at bringing things back. It might not be the best thing ever, but he brings it back in such a fun way. That's kind of where he's at. Of course, not everybody liked The Force Awakens, but I think that for me personally, I think The Force Awakens was exactly what it needed to be. It was a fun reboot, and kind of got us back into Star Wars. Maybe it was a little too close to A New Hope, but hey, that was good for most people because they're like, yeah, it's nostalgia. Yes. So, it did what it needed to do, but now that they're on thin ice, and they're like, we need to end this with a really big bang. They gotta, bring, what they think is the big kahuna's back, which is J.J. Abrams, but, I don't think they realize, has J.J. ever had to close a story out?
No,
he's never had to close a story out.
Nope.
So, there's part of me that's actually kind of excited that he has to challenge himself. He's like, okay, how do I put a bow on this thing that I started? Oh, God, you mean I actually have to close up plot holes that I began? So I'm excited to see what he actually does with that. But then the other part of me is, scared, I don't think he can do it. So, we'll see.
Well, here's...
But then we're talking about Episode 9, and we're supposed to be talking about Han Solo. But you go ahead.
I think this is going to be, until we get additional info, I don't think we're going to have the ability to do a Han Solo specific Star Wars hour until the movie comes out, because I'm sitting here, it's been 8 minutes and I've been stretching my brain to come up with topics, and I'm debating just taking text and typing the word half in between Star Wars and hour right now, because I don't know what else to talk about.
I mean, it's tough. Literally what we're doing right now, it's funny because we have not, I think we might have mentioned it a few little times before we actually started doing our reviews for Last Jedi, but what we're doing right now, even though we really haven't had an episode dedicated to Han Solo, is exactly what everyone who has been talking about Han Solo is still doing. Every time, because all people like Collider and everybody's been doing is a little piece of information comes out, the poster. They're like, oh, let's bitch about it for an hour, or they get the little synopsis. Oh, let's bitch about an hour, but they keep repeating themselves every week on week on week on week. Versus we are repeating ourselves within this episode, but that's all you can really do.
And it's still exhausting because there's nothing there. It's insane.
Again, what I do want to say is, I am disappointed that the trailer didn't come out with Last Jedi, and the argument could have been made that they didn't want to cross promotion or whatever, but January 1st, if that was the deal, January 1st, that's when you released the trailer for Solo. It's January 20th.
February? We're a week away from February.
I think that they took so long that it's going to be a trailer before Black Panther at this point, because Black Panther I think comes out next month. And
I don't think it'll be a trailer before Black Panther. I don't think they're going to get it done.
You don't think they're going to get it done? Do you think this is going to be delayed? I don't think they can. They did that option already. Like Last Jedi was supposed to come out May of 2017, and then it ended up getting bumped to December.
When's Episode 9 supposed to come out?
Episode 9 is supposed to come out December 2019? 2019.
They could push it. They'll push it to the end of the year.
They can't, though, because the difference is that last year they could push The Last Jedi till December because Disney didn't have any big releases coming out
in December? Is that Infinity Wars?
No, Infinity War comes out in June, just 2 weeks before Last Jedi, or 2 weeks after. God. I can't remember. It's also coming out in May.
Who scheduled this?
Mary Poppins Returns comes out in December, and that's where it's in the date that Star Wars would usually go. But
that's their big money kid movie.
Yeah, that's like Mary Poppins is coming back. Emily Blunt is Mary Poppins. Really, and they're expecting that movie to make like $1.5 billion at least. And so that's their big December Christmas family movie, because I think they got really scared with the reviews of Last Jedi. People were like, oh, this is too dark, especially for a Christmas movie. I think if Last Jedi had come out in May, maybe the fan reactions would have been a little brighter, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, that was a pretty dark Christmas movie, you know, like not that Star Wars is a Christmas movie, but they kind of made Star Wars Christmas movies by putting them in December. Disney, is that the Disney screensaver?
No, it's again. How do we have more to talk about the Mary Poppins movie coming out in December than we do Star Wars?
We know more about it.
That's insane.
So, anyways, so. The thing is, of course, Disney is not a Christmas movie or holiday movie unless it's the Star Wars Christmas special. But it's not a holiday or Christmas movie by any means. I'm just saying, because they put these movies up in the holiday season, we want to see movies that are uplifting. And The Force Awakens, for the most part, was filled with hope and uplifting like bits. And even Rogue One ended with the last word of the movie was hope.
Yes.
This movie had no hope. It was, I love The Last Jedi, but it was dark and it was gritty and was like, and there was maybe Broom Kid had a little bit of hope, but
I think the hope was that they made it. It was like a relief film.
Yeah, we got 12 rebels in the Millennium Falcon. Like, that's it. But, for the most part, it's like, it was pretty gloom and doom the whole time. So what I'm saying is, maybe Disney saw that and they're like, okay, maybe we should start releasing these back in May. And also, again, they want Mary Poppins to do well. If they release Star Wars, if they release Han Solo in December, that could kill box office potential for Mary Poppins.
Yes, it could. I'm gonna transition this scene real quick because I want to show. I just want to pull this up real fast. Let's do window capture. Fuck it. Because I want people to take a look at this while we talk about it. Is that gonna? Oh, nope. Bum, 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 what is it? It's screen capture, game capture, display capture. There it is. All right. It's been a long day.
Whoa!
Infinity pool. I'm not gonna bother doing this. It's too much work.
What were you trying to show?
I was trying to pull this up. Look at this buddy cop ass poster they came out with.
That's the official poster.
That's terrible.
And again, if you guys just look up the Solo a Star Wars story, you'll probably get the only promotional poster that they made, which is the big bright yellow one with Chewie's on Han's shoulder like this, and it's very like, and Lando's looking like, and it's very like, hey, we made a Solo movie, it's like that.
Is that. And that's Kira, right? Whoever
that's Amelia Clarke.
Don't you think that's gonna be Lando's love interest? It's gonna be one of those like Lando's trying to chase her the entire movie, and that'll be like I'll go give me some of that sweet Kira.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like they're making her out to be Han's love interest, but like it's funny because again, Disney is gonna be on thin ice with fans, especially after Last Jedi, because people are already complaining that, like, for example, Disney ended the canon of Star Wars, so everything before Disney bought it, except for the movies, is Legends now. It didn't happen anymore. But then, so that started in 2013, 14, whenever Disney actually bought Star Wars. Now, there are certain things because of things The Last Jedi did and things that this Han Solo movie did that it's even going to it's like, okay, so that Phasma comic that came out right before The Force Awakens where her and General Hux were love interests with each other, that didn't happen anymore. Or this Han Solo comic didn't happen anymore. It's like, so it's like they're now erasing their own continuity, but it's like, what's the Lucasfilm story department for? They have a story group. It's like, I thought the point was this is another thing that really bothers me, because it, like, at least in old canon, everything worked together perfectly, even if there were some things where, like, you know, they found ways to work around certain things. Whereas apparently in Star Wars continuity, they can erase their own continuity at any time if it doesn't suit the needs of, like, well, we want to do this way. It kind of just goes back to the Force Awakens again. The Force Awakens erased everything so they could do whatever they want. But it's like, if they're going to reset continuity every time they want to do a movie because they want to do whatever they want in every single movie, that's going to get a little frustrating for fans.
Whose decision is that? Do you think that's Kathleen Kennedy, or do you think this myriad of directors they brought in, not wanting to have to deal with the constraints that George Lucas created with his legendary 30-plus years of experience writing Star Wars
It's supposed to be Pablo Hidalgo's job. He's the guy in charge of continuity at Lucasfilm, to make sure that everything works together. And obviously, he's either not doing his job or he's being pressured to let things slip.
I'm sure they're literally coming in and they're saying, hey, this doesn't exist anymore. And he's like, you can't get rid of that. And they're like, no, we don't want to. We're not going to have to deal with this.
Yeah, so here's my thing. In Han Solo comics that have come out in the last few years, we know that at some point before A New Hope, Han was actually married to someone else. He had a wife before he met Leia. Now, what I'm worried about is that this Kira plot is, after this movie comes out, they're like, okay, so that comic where Han Solo was married and all that didn't happen anymore because now he's with Kira, and we're going to make a second Han Solo movie where they
isn't Kira the one he's going to marry? Isn't that it? Isn't it as simple as that?
Let me just say this, if Kira is the one that Han Solo marries, then it'll be completely, and you guys know why, it'll be completely different than what happens in the comics. Well, because, let's look it up.
Yeah, help me out.
Type it, Han Solo wife. Yeah, that's right. She's African American. He's supposed to marry an African American woman, and that's why some people think that Thandie Newman, whose character is unnamed, and she's in this movie, some people think that she's playing Han's wife.
I want to pull up what's her name?
Thandie Newman?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in this movie. And some people think that she plays Han's wife, and that they're still married, and she's trying to get a divorce or something. I don't know, because we don't know the plot of this movie. But
that's pretty close.
All I'm saying is Thandie Newman is in this movie.
They've been trying to cast people to look like the originals and the things that they're trying to keep everybody's looks the same. Yeah. That's pretty close. So I forgot she was the one in Firefly.
No, that's not her.
Oh no,
that's somebody messed up there.
Oh no, that looks so much like her. Oh no, it doesn't. I'm looking at the comics. I got distracted.
Yeah. So God. Yeah, they're yeah. So anyways, what I'm saying is it's got to be Thandie Newman, or or they can acknowledge this plot from the comics, or they can do what they have been doing and be like, nope, doesn't happen anymore. What'd you say?
She was in Norbit.
I remember Thandie Newman most from the Chronicles of Riddick. She was the wife of the guy played by the guy from Star Trek.
Yes.
Can't remember his name right now for some reason.
I'm trying to think of what else. Let's see her filmography. She'd be pretty good.
The guy from Star Trek who was also Dredd in the new Dredd movie.
Yes.
Carl Urban.
He was so good.
She was married to Carl Urban's character in the Chronicles of Riddick.
Carl Urban is just...
There he is.
So good. So good. Okay. Yeah, then why don't they do that? And then in this movie, it just shows them getting together, and then we just assume they break up at some point.
Or I think she's there to get a divorce. Like, it already happened.
They're already married. Well, how old is he supposed to be?
He's supposed to be real young when he got married.
How old was Han Solo when we met him?
35?
No, not actually. Like, in the canon. Is he 35 in the canon when we first get introduced to him?
Well, I know that when they filmed A New Hope, Harrison Ford was already like 34 or something like that. I think he was supposed to be about 34. Age?
Okay, and how old's this
And he's supposed to be about 25 in this movie, I think.
Let's see how
about 10 years earlier.
How old's this babyface kid? Let's see. Boop. He is 28. Okay, yeah, that's fair. So they're already married. They're kind of doing their thing.
The dichotomy kind of got a little weird by the end of Return of the Jedi, but like, remember in A New Hope, he's like, kid, boy, he's supposed to be kind of like, Han Solo was written as kind of a middle-aged alien character, actually, and then, because, some of you may remember Empire of Dreams, a very good documentary about Star Wars. But, during the, when they were doing casting and everything, because Harrison was already friends with George Lucas because, Harrison Ford was in American Graffiti, another person that was in American Graffiti. Yes. He was just there to help out with line reading. And so Mark Hamill came in to do Luke Skywalker, and he's like, oh, Harrison, could you just read the Han Solo part so that, Hamill has somebody to bounce off of.
Yeah.
And then he saw them, do the parts together, and he's like, nope, that's it.
Yep.
Forget Han Solo was an alien, middle-aged alien thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be Harrison Ford now.
Harrison Ford all the way, which was a good choice.
And this is another funny thing that happened when Lucas was casting, Indiana Jones, was that, they same thing. They were like, well, we need somebody to do, because they wanted Tom Selleck was actually hired and paid. He actually got a paycheck to be Indiana Jones. He got in an accident or something 2 weeks before filming shoot.
Couldn't do it.
And he couldn't do it. So, Harrison stepped in literally under 2 weeks before. Harrison Ford was almost not his most iconic character. Well, unless you think Han Solo was his most iconic character. That it's arguable which one.
Thinking of recasting, who would you have cast as Han Solo?
Who would I have cast as Han Solo? Oh, in this Han Solo movie?
In this Han Solo spin-off movie, who would you have cast?
I think his name is I want to say Tyler Egerton, the guy from the Kingsman. You're still in the same search.
Tyler
Egerton. Maybe just
that is. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Taron Egerton. Taron Egerton from Kingsman was actually in he auditioned, and I think he was one of their top few choices. But remember, Scott Eastwood.
That's who Clint
Eastwood's son.
Yeah, I would
just like him.
I would have gone with Scott Eastwood.
Yeah. So a lot of people auditioned, but remember, because Phil Lord and Miller were the directors at the time, they got the casting call
because it was going to be a comedy.
Sometimes I feel a little bad for Ron Howard because he couldn't make his own casting decisions, except for Paul Bettany, because he had to step in.
Yeah.
But he didn't get to cast his own movie, and that's really sad for a director when it's like, oh, I gotta just kind of pick up the pieces here. Because I believe if Ron Howard was directing this movie from the beginning, we'd be looking at a completely different cast.
Yes.
Completely. It's especially with and I do like Donald Glover, but it kind of shows they were going for that comedy kind of route.
Well, and if they were gonna go for the comedy route, I'm looking at a list of the some of the most popular actors who were either rumored or did audition for the Han Solo movie. And the first one, Dave Franco. If you're gonna do a comedy and you want a grizzled hard chin dude, you make him grow his hair out a bit, and that would have been great.
I mean, I like Dave Franco, but his voice is a little high.
That's true.
He does. It's
and then they have Aaron. That would have been terrible. I don't think that would.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been good at all.
I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, but not as Han Solo.
Oh, this would have been the worst.
Oh,
Miles Teller.
Yeah.
I can't take him seriously. He's doing that one movie with the new Soldier movie for him.
Miles Teller has been really hit and miss.
Yes,
for me.
No kidding.
I know obviously people remember the Fantastic Four Fantastic Four reboot that was terrible.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe that's what's poisoning my. Only the Brave. That really bugs me. They cast him in it. I don't know if I can watch it. It's supposed to be a good movie. It's supposed to be a very good movie, but he was bad in Insurgent. I don't like him there. All of the Divergent series, I did not enjoy it. So I don't think he would have been a good cast. Then we have
Nick Robinson,
who
was the older brother in Jurassic World.
He's too.
It doesn't really look like. No. And then there's a lot of people wanted that YouTube guy. I cannot remember his name, but there's the YouTube guy that made the fan film, the Solo fan film, and he usually does the Robin Williams impressions. And he looks a lot like Robin Williams, but he could also look a Smuggler's Trade.
Yeah,
he looks a lot like Harrison Ford too, especially in this fan film that they made. And he made this to be look, I can be Han Solo, and it was he does look like he could be a young Harrison Ford, but I don't think his acting was especially great in this though.
Well,
but a lot of people were rooting for him to, and I'm sure if you read the comments, people will be I wish you were cast.
This feels like something Han would do himself. Great job. Yeah. Well, we also have That would have been terrible.
Chandler Riggs from The Walking Dead.
As a
Carl. And yeah, we are talking about Carl himself, the little boy, as Han Solo.
The little child.
Rami Malek. Hey, I really like Rami Malek, but
I do too. He would not have been good at Han Solo. No, not at all. No, that would have been terrible.
Felton.
I mean, Tom's a good actor. I like Tom. Felton, but he would not have been a good Han Solo. Same reason.
Yeah.
Logan Lerman. Let's see what he's been in.
Fury.
Yeah, he might not have been bad.
I don't even remember him in Fury though. Maybe he looked.
I think
really
it was
different.
just one of the he probably had a buzz cut, which he usually has long hair.
Okay. Yeah. All I remember.
Class, Sergeant Subby, the American Hero. Scribe. Yeah, he wouldn't have been terrible. 310 to Yuma he was in. Oh, that would have been bad. Ansel Elgort.
Jeez. Man, like, it's funny because usually when they're like, oh, we got like 3,000 people, like, there was probably hundreds of people that auditioned for Han Solo. Like, we're looking at Cinema Blends, like, these are like the notable actors that that auditioned, you know.
Well, we made it another 15 minutes. Good work, Rich.
Cool.
But do you want to look up some, like, top 10 questions on the Han Solo movie and then, like, questions we still have about the Han Solo movie, and we'll just answer those.
I guess so. That'll be in lieu of our live questions. Yeah. Like, here's the questions that you probably would have asked if this was live.
Would have been like, could you have played Han Solo, Rich Alvarez?
There's 3 questions we have about the firing. By Vulture is 6 questions. About
17 questions.
17. Oh, that's after watching last Jedi.
Yeah, that would have been.
All right, let's look at these 3 questions. Who's at fault? And this is probably for the director's firing.
It would have been Kathleen Kennedy. Because she's in charge of that.
I mean, yeah, ultimately, it would have been her.
This is just a synopsis.
But that's just all opinion stuff. Yeah.
What's going on with Alden Enrich? Well, we've already talked about that. It's, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, because this is embarrassing
really do.
for him.
Well, that's rough, because it's probably going to kill his career.
Yeah, if this movie tanks, he's going to get blamed.
If this movie doesn't tank... He's going to get blamed.
And understand, again, Alden Ehrenreich, he's been okay in other movies, and maybe he is a good actor when placed in the right role, but clearly Miller and Lord were looking for somebody funny to do this, and they weren't even apparently they weren't even satisfied with his acting and everything, and then Ron Howard came in and he's like, nope, acting coach. So, if this movie is bad, he'll get blamed. It'll be like, oh, no, he ruined the movie, and that'll be the end of that. And unfortunately, I feel like that's the path that we're heading down.
Well, I appreciate him stepping out of his roots here and taking the hard job, but I really think he stepped into it expecting it to be a comedy, and then when they flipped the script on him, I'm sure he had a damn near a meltdown, because that's insane. You start your... When you get into a character and you start... when you get into a character and you start filming for a role, you become that character. He had to become someone else. I'm sure, especially if you're like if you're like Robert Downey Jr. and you do a character act the whole time in Tropic Thunder, it's gonna be difficult. So.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because usually if you're an actor and you're doing a role, you kind of get to invent the role a little bit. This is like he had to, like, not only was this a challenge because doing Han Solo is kind of like you have to please the fans by doing it a certain way, and you kind of have to imitate Harrison Ford. But if you imitate Harrison Ford too much, then critics, because critics, they'll be like, oh, you're just imitating Harrison Ford.
Like, that's literally his job.
And this is like the real thing between. Fans and critics will never agree. Hence The Last Jedi, because fans would really just like someone who looks as much like Harrison Ford as possible, who can act as much like Harrison Ford as possible, so that when we watch these movies in chronological order, there's not a suspension of disbelief. It's like, well, obviously that's not Harrison Ford. Yeah. Now here's Harrison Ford because you're watching the movie. It's like you want to get as close as possible, but because everybody in Hollywood is worried about Academy Awards and what critics think, they're like, okay, we can't get too close.
He really broke out on his own as an actor.
Yeah, they're like, he's got to reinvent it.
No, you don't.
always see that whenever they recast anything, even if it's like a sequel, and like Maria, whatever her name is, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, who was recasted in The Mummy 3 after Rachel Weisz dropped off. She's like, I really wanted to reinvent the role and do something different. And that movie was terrible, and that's one of the reasons why.
Stop it. Stop it, Hollywood. So we have this is actually a fun one. How did Han and Chewie meet? It's going to be on a run. He'll be delivering something. And that's how they meet. I think it's as simple as that. I don't think it's going to be very complicated.
Yeah, but last thing I want to say about what I was saying though is like, guys, if you want to make an artsy, independent, like very critical, darling film, you go ahead and do that. But when you're doing Star Wars,
do Star
Wars.
No
Forget
kidding.
You're not gonna win Best Picture. So
No.
even though A New Hope was nominated for Best Picture, it's never gonna get nominated again because the critics have already ruled Star Wars out for that.
Yes.
They're incredibly biased. Forget about it.
Bias is sci-fi as a genre.
I hate to say it, but really, it's Star Wars. The art has already been figured out. Just do Star Wars. Leave your artsy fartsy shit at home, please.
Yes,
please.
Isn't Chewie, by the way? This is just something I don't remember. Isn't he technically a runt?
No, I think that by the time we get to this Han Solo movie, he's already like 80 years old.
Okay.
Because he was already supposed to be like 60 in Episode 3. Remember, he was in Revenge of the Sith. You know?
Okay. So Han and Chewie, mine simple. They meet it on a run. I'm sure there's no other reason than that. I'm sure why Chewie comes with Han or why they hit it off is some like kind of deeper plot. But where they meet is going to be on his home world during a run.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it. Sorry. It's just Han. Come on, Lucasfilm. Han Solo. Really? It was already perfect.
Don't ruin it!
Oh, we already have the Han Solo movie. It's called A New Hope.
Maybe we can convince Disney to do what they've done with everything else and just decide that, hey, you know what? This isn't canon anymore. They released the Han Solo movie with the not canon.
Yeah, not canon
banner across the top.
I was like, and I know a lot of people don't even want a Boba Fett movie, but I want a Boba Fett movie because that guy didn't even get 10 lines in the original trilogy.
Oh my God.
There's a lot that needs to be answered about him.
This question. How does Han become a smuggler? You know what immediately hit my head?
What?
Fucking Star-Lord.
Star-Lord.
It's gonna be that. With the guy who raised him, and it's gonna be that.
Yeah. Probably.
Isn't that terrible? Well, isn't that just a terrible idea to have?
And it's funny because when they were doing Star-Lord, at least the Star-Lord version in the MCU, the idea was like, oh, let's do kind of like a young Han Solo kind of a character, And now they're doing the young Han Solo movie, then it's like they're going to be copying Star Wars, because that's what always happens. It's like the Thing copied the Thing, and then that Thing comes back and copies the Thing that copied the Thing.
No. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So basically, what you're saying is that
we're gonna watch the most recent.
Guardians 2?
Yeah, we're going to watch Guardians 2.
Wow. So Woody Harrelson is Yondu?
Yes. Yes. And this is silly. How do you complete the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs? It's going to be some weird... He already talks about it. His ship is held together via this jury-rigged...
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Or he's either didn't make it at all... Or he did it out of desperation, and it barely worked.
I think he was lying because
I like that.
Parsecs is not a measurement of time.
Yes.
And we'll be like, wait. But there's been, I think, at least one other time in a Star Wars movie even where it was in Episode 2. Padme says, "Oh, we can make it to Obi-Wan. He's less than a parsec from here." So they corrected themselves by making parsec a distance again, which. For me, confirmed that Han Solo was just full of hot air and was bragging and was lying, which is like my whole point. You can even see it in Alec Guinness's face as Obi-Wan. He's like, "You didn't do that because that's not true."
Rich, you ready for some crazy shit?
What?
When you're traveling at warp speed, time and distance are the same. So if you're traveling 12 parsecs at light speed, it means you were able to continue light speed for the 12 parsecs.
Okay, but that would mean that Star Wars would finally have to acknowledge math.
Yes, but so there's
we talked on video game fights about. Jabba teaches math or whatever.
Yes. Great game.
Call back to some time ago.
Yep. But no, that's I'm just saying they have an out. If he actually does it, they have an out because a parsec distance and time become the same thing when you're traveling at the speed of light.
All right.
So
then it could make sense.
Yes, but I doubt they're going to do that, and they're probably going to do yours. Yes. Why is Han such a jerk? That's just his character. We're not going to answer this.
Again, this is like why it's like, I really want the Han Solo movie to be good, but at the same time, I just didn't want it because I don't really want these questions answered. You know what I mean? I want the best part about it is you get to use your imagination. That's why do people get so bothered about the Han shooting first or no, they shot at the same time because people want to invent their own character character background for him. Han Solo is supposed to be just whatever you want him to be. By doing this movie, it's like, no, this is what happened, and this is who he is.
This is how it's supposed to... Like, I loved the... just the tension, like the weird friendship tension between Lando and Han in all the films, and now we're gonna figure out like why it's like that or how it exists. It's gonna be too much. And we have this question right here of how did Han win the Falcon from Lando?
Well, we know that was a game of Sabacc.
Yes.
But we don't need to see
Why?
it.
We're gonna watch the game.
Unless, like, that's the whole movie and it's, like, played like Casino Royale, where it's like...
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, but I know it's not.
They're not gonna do that.
But I love Casino Royale. It's like the whole thing revolves around the game. It's like, oh, Mr. Bond, are you okay?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Nearly died. You know?
Yeah, I don't understand why this is still a question.
Does Han Solo have any...
No, because he's Star-Lord. I guarantee you, you come back, and I'm gonna link this in our post Han Solo. I'm gonna clip this. I'm calling it.
So
Han Solo is Star-Lord. You're gonna basically watch a reshoot.
So, what if they never ever release any trailers or TV spots, and it's like, all right, here's the Han Solo movie. It's released. It's like, well, we don't even know what the fuck. And then we go to the theater. It's just Ron Howard comes out in front, like Cecil B. DeMille style.
Yeah.
And the curtains open. He's like, hi, I'm Ron Howard. We were supposed to make a Han Solo movie, but instead, here's an hour and a half of Kermit the Frog singing with Yoda.
Yes. They're singing the Toy Story theme song. You've got a friend in me.
You got a friend in me.
It's gonna be, or he'll just walk out and it'll be like, "Hi, I'm Ron Howard. We were supposed to make a Han Solo film. Instead, enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy 2."
It's the same thing anyway.
It just starts playing.
You watch Han Solo, or you watch Guardians 2.
Oh,
whatever,
man.
fuck you. You'll watch it anyway.
You'll buy whatever I make.
Oh my god.
Well,
you know that now we have to make that Kermit and Yoda sing. You got a friend in me.
You've got a friend in me.
You got a friend in me.
That'd be easy. All right, we'll make it happen.
It's like, is it Fozzie the Bear or is it Yoda? Yeah. It was both right and cause. They sound the same. Who cares?
Yep.
You listen to it anyway.
You listen to anything I make. We did it. We made it to 56 minutes.
And that's good enough.
That's close enough to an hour. You round up.
Well, okay, but now we actually have some important news. If you've been sticking around this whole time.
Yes,
guys,
we do.
This is the last Star Wars hour to be on the Rich Alvarez channel because... we have.
What did you just say?
I said that this is the last Star Wars hour on the Rich Alvarez channel, but guys, this is not the last episode of Star Wars Hour. What does that mean? We have a brand new YouTube channel that you can go to right now. It doesn't have a URL because YouTube changed their rules about URLs, and you have to have like over 1,000 subs and be on for over 6 months. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Because here's a link right there. It's on the screen. Probably, if it's not on yet, it's because there's more than 20 seconds left for some reason. But it'll be somewhere in the middle in just a little bit. Go there. That's the new channel. It's called Star Wars Network. It sounds official because it is. Well, it's just... and that's how I died. Never mind. No more channel. No. Okay. Star Wars Network. You're going to get Star Wars Hour every week on Star Wars Network. That's also when a new huge thing comes out. That's where I'll do like my 2 to 3 minute little like just in news blurbs about Star Wars and anything else. My Star Wars reviews, they'll all go up on there. Star Wars Network. Go to it. Subscribe to Star Wars Network.
Yes.
And we hope to grow an incredible audience of Star Wars fans looking for their daily dose of Star Wars news told in a fun and sarcastic way.
There might even be some fan fiction at some point.
There might even be some fan fiction stuff on there eventually. Some of you know what I'm talking about, okay? So, maybe some other stuff. Maybe a Star Wars sketch or two. Who knows?
Maybe Kermit the Frog and Yoda singing You've Got a Friend
Oh my god, that's got to be one of the first videos on there now. That's just like, what the hell?
I'm up for it.
Because we got to set people up for some weird shit going up on there. You got a friend.
Kermit's arms just like.
Yeah, we gotta learn the words.
Alright, you guys. Thank you for watching Star Wars Hour, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.